afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Of course, we'll look at the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, and local and national stories you need to know. We have an update on that BNSF Railway up there in Whitman area. We have an update on that coming up as well. BlackRock dealing with some expansion concerns. Well, they might have a fix for that coming up later on in the show. We'll talk about that, of course. We're waiting for the Fed here and their meeting tomorrow. We'll know if we have another rate cut coming our way. All the Magnificent Seven stocks, or most of them, reporting this week as well. So a lot out there. Let's get into it with the Market Watch. And everything, at least almost everything, except for the Russell 2K, which is basically flat today. Well, they're all in the green as everything's still hitting record highs here as well. Strong earnings reports from a lot of companies out there and kind of leading the charge right now. And government shutdown not affecting the market at all as we continue throughout this. But the NASDAQ right now is up to 188 points, 306 points up for the Dow Jones, 47,886 for that. The S&P 500 is up 19 points to 68.99. I already told you NASDAQ was up 188. It's at 23,825 because we're seeing everything kind of hit the record levels still, as I told you earlier. Russell 2K is the one down one. It's at 4 points down right now, 25.16 for the small cap index. And then Bitcoin, it's still hovering in that 115,000 range as we looked at it yesterday. It is technically up 1167 as we saw a sell-off yesterday afternoon, but rebounding here today back to that 115,269 for Bitcoin here today. So, markets doing and continuing what they're going. I mean, tons of reporting going on. We can sit here for an hour and go through reporting stocks out there. We choose, the 6, 7 or so that are most important here, or things that catch our eyes. And first one we're going to look at is VF Corporation. This is the parent company of Vans, the shoemaker. Well, they're 7.95% down today. Fiscal third quarter guidance was not up to par there for them, but they did have a Q2 earnings beat out there on the reporting side. VF revenues fell 1 to 3% from a year earlier period. But analysts on average expected a 1.2% increase in that time frame. So that's where they missed it. VF Corporation, parent company of Vans, down 8.01% off of that news today. Next up, we got, I'm going to struggle with it. It's a hospitality software maker. Agilicis is what we'll call it here. I had to look away from the name in order to pronounce that. 22% up here today is what they're at right now. They posted fiscal second quarter results above expectations. They earned 40 cents per share, excluding, the certain items and things that they have, taxes, etc. Analysts expected a profit of 34 cents per share. They even raised their fiscal 2026 revenue guidance with this reporting. So 22% up here for Agilsys. Just don't read it, and you can say it, folks. That's how I'm looking at it. Next up, we got PayPal Holdings. Payment provider. You guys know PayPal out there. That's the next stock we're looking at. Up big today, 8.26% right now. Third quarter earnings per share was $1.34. Well, that topped Wall Street consensus estimate of $1.20 per share. At that point, big numbers there for PayPal as well. They also initiated a quarterly dividend of 14 cents per share. First time they've ever done a quarterly dividend for PayPal, and they're being rewarded in terms of the stocks here. 8.20% up right now for PayPal. And we do have a story on PayPal and ChatGPT coming up here in this first segment of the show. Later on, when we come back and look at the Market Watch, we're going to look at some other stocks out there. We're going to look at Wayfair, UPS, the partial delivery service, and then F5 we're going to look at as well. A cloud application security software company. We've talked about them here a little bit over the last couple weeks, and we'll take a look at those stocks coming up. But first, the stories that you need to know here on this Tuesday. And Donald Trump over there in Asia, well, it's having a lot of success, I guess you can say. And, of course, Thursday is when he's meeting with the Chinese president over in Malaysia to kind of hammer out those framework deals and what that is looking like. But first, he met with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takachi here yesterday. They signed a framework agreement, and they're going to secure the supply of critical minerals and rare earths through the mining and processing process, is what they came out with. This information comes directly from the White House after that meeting. So the agreement between the two countries, and don't forget, this is she was just elected, and this is Japan's first female leader in the history of Japan. Well, they met, put this together in this agreement, and it's part of the President Trump's big trip across Asia and hitting all of these countries for deals and working those things out. Washington and Tokyo are looking to strengthen their supply chains for those rare earth elements. Those are the elements we talk about them a lot here: renewable batteries, a lot of national security items and things to that effect that China's restricting right now, electronics, etc. So the White House, according to the White House, Japan and the U.S. plan to coordinate investment and policy efforts to develop more diversified and transparent markets for critical minerals and those rare earth mineral elements. So it was a big deal. So here's the framework: 6 months. Within 6 months, the two countries plan to identify and fund new mining and processing projects for key materials, things like magnets and batteries, for instance, specifically for those. The agreement also creates a joint rapid response group to spot and supply vulnerabilities and even coordinate emergency deliveries of critical materials if supplies get a little bit low. So, Japan and the U.S. will also streamline and expedite permitting processes for critical minerals and rare earths. And then the agreement commits both countries to actually address foreign trade distortions and those unfair market practices that are out there in the world. So, a lot of stuff there around this deal with between the U.S. and Japan, and look at President Trump making these deals out there. It's doing a lot of work. Let's just put it that way here on his trip in Asia. And as I said earlier, the U.S. and China presidents are getting together on Thursday. Well, as of now, we haven't heard anything since then out there, and they're not going to resolve all the issues that are out there and question marks between these two countries before they meet. But we do know they're likely to make enough progress here on the main concern. Besides, there's other ones, but the main one here is those strategic minerals that we just talked about, those rare earth ones. Americans' export controls and other, small problems here between these two countries as they're battling it out in this, trying to work out an agreement here on the tariffs, etc., between the two countries. So we'll refresh it here that the two countries they sent out several signals over the past weekend that basically says the agreement is drawing closer together, and we now will we see an agreement on Thursday? I'm not sure we will. We'll see probably a more tighter side of it, but do we get a deal done or does it stretch out a little bit longer? Is what we're looking at. Don't forget, over the weekend, China's top trade negotiator told reporters that Washington and Beijing had reached a preliminary consensus. And then the Treasury Secretary here in America, Scott Bessent, he said there was a very successful framework and stories over the weekend as well. Even President Trump said, we're going to get a deal together. We got a deal coming up. So good news on that leading into Thursday's meeting here between these two companies. And we'll come back home here as well in terms of the corporate side of things with Amazon, one of our biggest retailers out there and online places. Well, Amazon came out and said they would cut 14,000 corporate staffers this year. So a big layoff here, and it's aimed at readying Amazon for the wide adoption of specifically that AI technology. The company noted that it would be hiring in key areas. They would prioritize those who lost their jobs for those roles, those new roles that they're coming out with. But Amazon also said it wasn't done with layoffs at all. There was a story I saw that was reported that said 30,000 is what they're aiming at in terms of the layoffs. 30,000 jobs coming up for Amazon. So right now, 14,000 is what they're saying now. Amazon does have over 350,000 employees right now, corporate employees specifically. And that's according to a 2024 survey that was filed to the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Offices um, uh, for Amazon. That's about 4% of the company's overall staff, is what is eventually being cut right now. So we're hearing of a lot of layoffs happening here in the corporate world as over the last couple days. And Amazon's trying to streamline it and be more nimble, is what they're trying to do. They want to be they want to act like a small company and be a big company. And they think these layoffs are going to kind of lead them towards that type of things. And a lot of stuff was happening, Amazon, with their politics and what they were dealing with, but nobody's delved into politics as a CEO like Elon Musk has, right? And he's Tesla's, a CEO right now, among other companies, SpaceX, etc. But we have some numbers here on what delving into the politics side actually did for Tesla specifically and their competitors in terms of sales, right? Elon Musk, bought Twitter, rebranded it X back in 2022, and the that just that alone before he got into the politics side of things with the last election, that process alone hurt Tesla's US sales. So it underscores how deeply its fortunes are intertwined with specifically Elon Musk and what he does away from Tesla. So the findings quantify for the first time how the political action of Elon Musk, including the administration with Donald Trump, right, the cutting of jobs, etc. Well, how much it hurt and cost Tesla there. Right now, we know it's billions in lost vehicle sales, and it benefited rival electric car makers, him doing this move. I don't think this will surprise anybody that it happened, but how much is going to be the shocker here. Tesla's U.S. sales would have been between 67 and 83% higher, which equates to about 1 million or 1.26 million additional vehicles from October 2022 to April 25. Yes, that much more if it had not been for the Musk effect, is what the researchers are calling it. So, this is all a working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Yale University economists kind of put this together as well. So, you guys remember on the Tesla deal, right? Democratic leaning buyers shifted away from Tesla specifically. They were the big buyers of them before. And they moved over to the competitors of the electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. And what movement moved over? 17 to 22%. Uh, you know, Sales boost there by the competitors of Tesla, according to this study. The Yale University researchers linked the drop to Elon Musk's increasingly partisan behavior, including that roughly $300 million in donations to Republican candidates, as well as the leadership of that Doge, right, earlier this year under Trump. So we have quantifying numbers if you want to believe them, but at least they're out there quantifying numbers of what it cost Tesla for Elon Musk to go out and do things privately. And this is why I always say I don't understand why companies do these moves and foray into politics, because it hurts your sales. And we're seeing it, how big of a number Tesla was hurt, of course, going into the season. And I told you earlier we'd have a story on PayPal, and, we gave you the stock update. They're doing a dividend for the first time in 27 years, but PayPal also said that they entered into a deal with OpenAI. They're going to allow ChatGPT users to buy products using PayPal's platform, which, is a big deal because that's a lot of people use ChatGPT, and now they can use PayPal to buy stuff. PayPal also raised its profit forecast for the year, banking on resilient customer spending, and announced, like I said, its first dividend in the 27-year history of PayPal. PayPal also said that the OpenAI partnership will connect its global merchant network to ChatGPT, so businesses that sell products and services within the ChatGPT, which is millions of users, 800 million weekly active users, they say there. So that's a big industry. PayPal said the integration will to the platform with OpenAI will make millions of products discoverable, and purchasable through ChatGPT, especially. So PayPal getting a lot of good news here today with that dividend, and then of course ways to use PayPal moving forward here specifically. You don't have to leave ChatGPT to buy stuff here coming up. So that's big news on that side. And hey, you get thirsty out there? Check out a Taco Bell. Now they're expanding, but not here in Phoenix yet out there. But Taco Bell is going all in its beverages. They have that Live Moss Cafe concept out going on out there. Think of the McDonald's version of this was that the Cosmo sites that have since closed down. Well, Taco Bell unveiled the drink-focused store format last December. The first location was opened over in California, I believe Chula Vista, if I remember correctly. 10 months later, now they got a second location over by the University of California, Irvine campus. By the end of this year, Taco Bell is projecting that it'll have 30 Live Moss cafes in its portfolio. It's more in Southern California, but they're expanding over to Dallas and Houston area as well. So Cosmix is what it was, not McCosmos. I don't know what I was thinking. McDonald's now closed off here, right, as that spinoff happened at McDonald's. Well, Taco Bell's doing it a little bit different. The Cosmix, well, they have their own standalone buildings, so you had to go specifically there. Live Moss Cafe restaurants, well, they live inside existing Taco Bell restaurants. Customers order at kiosks and can watch the Bellristas, as they're calling them. Well, you can watch them assemble their drinks from behind the designated counter. It does take prime real estate in the store. So it's visible. It's not hidden into a corner. It's right there in the front. The drink menu includes a range of beverage options. Things from blended coffees, lemonade-based drinks is what they can do. This beverage-focused concept is supposed to help the Taco Bell reach its goal of generating a $5 billion drink business by 2030. Taco Bell first disclosed the target in March at an investor day, and that's where Taco Bell shared more about its plans to keep growing as it fuels Yum's operating growth profits. So far this year, Taco Bell has sold more than 600 million beverages. That's up 16% from a year ago, according to Taco Bell. More than 60% of the chain's orders this year, they've included a drink, according to Taco Bell as well. So, look, drinks are big profits. Big revenue comes in on the drink side of things. Taco Bell trying to capitalize that. And by all intents and purposes, right, 60% of the chain's orders included a drink this year, and that's up a lot. So high profit there, and Taco Bell doing it, and they're not doing standalone places like McDonald's did. So interesting concept. None here in Arizona yet, but coming our way here with their expansion plans out there. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep the show rolling. Yeah, we'll talk about City of Tempe and that big storm. We're putting some numbers together and how many people are affected by that microburst and moving forward. BNSF Railroad's coming up for an update and so much more, including BlackRock making some strategic decisions on their expansion, plus the Market Watch check, waiting for some Magnificent Seven stocks to report, and of course, the Federal Reserve's. What are they doing here in this session? We'll find that out tomorrow, but come on back. It's McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Woo-wee, lots of breaking news, lots of stuff around the business world happening here today. And if you missed it earlier, lots of sports stuff happening as well. Yesterday, we had every major sport going, an 18-inning baseball World Series game, Monday Night Football. You have the Suns playing yesterday, starting the season 1-3 off for them. As well, talked ASU and Cardinals, not only with me and 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestrae. Bruce Cooper joins us on Tuesdays. If you missed the show, it is on demand here at Robat TV. If you missed it live here at Robat TV from 8 to 10, we went into overtime today and went to about 10:30. Such riveting discussion. You can catch it on demand. The whole show's up at the YouTube page. It's being uploaded right now. Of course, the interview side, meaning on the interview section of that YouTube page, you can find the Bruce Cooper part of the show just by itself if you want to, and out on the free podcasting systems out there. However you find the show, we appreciate it. Like and subscribe it as well. Catch it here at Robat TV also. Then you got this show here. As soon as we go off air here at 11 o'clock, we put it up on demand at Robat TV and on the YouTube page as well. And then today you got the Look Back show, looking back at Martinsville, setting the stage of what happened last week, because we have the Championship 4 here for NASCAR in town this week, as we go into NASCAR's weekend of champions for all the 3 series. So we have that Look Back show being posted this afternoon, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. It'll be up. Robat TV, the YouTube page, and of course, free podcast system as well for that. The Real Matrix is the new programming that we're doing here, the Angry Patriot. Sometimes he has Dale Hellestrae join him, sometimes some other guests out there. First 5 episodes are up here at Robat TV. It has its own channel. You can see it. Of course, also on the YouTube page here that we do here for the shows that we produce here at Robat TV. And then also free podcast system for the Real Matrix as well out there. New episodes out every Wednesday at noon. So a new one out tomorrow at noon as well for you out there. So pay attention to the Real Matrix as well. And we'd love to have you come on board and do a show as well. You know, live here at Robat TV, we put everything out on Robat TV and support that platform, and we roll it out into our stuff as well. So come and join us. If you've ever thought of doing one, you just want to do a regular podcast, we've got it all here for you. All you got to do is reach out, and we'll get you all set up. And with that being said, let's get right back into that Market Watch. You see some record highs here today, and everything's kind of where it was earlier in the show. Everything's going to be kind of muted today. It's already built into the markets that we're going to get a 1/4-point rate cut tomorrow by the Fed on Wednesday. So it's kind of already there. Now, if there's any surprises, the market will react to that side of it. Right now, the Dow Jones is up 316 points on the day. S&P 500's up 24. The Nasdaq's up 211 points right now as well. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, 4 points down. That's the only one showing negative here today, and slightly down. And then Bitcoin, well, it is up. It's down from what it was earlier when we looked at it. It is up overall on the day, 900 points, but it's trading in that 115,000 range. It looks like it might tip down into the 114,000 range here any second as it has been going down. Here for the Bitcoin here as the day has gone on. Stocks we're paying attention to right now, as I told you, we're going to look at Wayfair right now. That's an online, I guess they sell a lot of home goods and things. 23.53% up for Wayfair here today. Third quarter earnings came in better than anticipated. Wayfair earned Wayfair earned 70 cents per share. For them, forecast was 43 cents per share. Big beat there for Wayfair with their reporting. They had $3.12 billion in revenue. Well, they were expected $3.02 billion in revenue for them. Big beat by Wayfair in terms of their numbers here on their reporting for the latest quarter for them. And then we got parcel delivery company, the UPS, we got to talk about. Well, they're up 7.90% right now for them. Better than expected third quarter revenue is the catalyst for this movement today. They had $21.4 billion in revenue. The estimated forecast was $20.83 billion. That led to adjusted earnings of $1.74 per share. The estimate there was $1.24 per share as well. Fourth quarter revenue guidance also topped Street's forecast out there. And so UPS having some success, even though gas prices are high, people aren't shipping things as much. Not a lot of stuff coming in from overseas with the tariffs, right? The de minimis tariff going away. UPS having stellar numbers despite that. 7.88% up right now. And then let's look at that multi cloud application security company, F5. We've talked about them last week. They had a catastrophic breach in their security for their systems out there, 2 weeks ago or so? And I question, like, how do you come back from that when that's your job to stop that from happening? Well, they're down 7.54% here today as well from that perspective. They disclosed that its big IP product line, which is the name of it, BIG-IP, they said that it recently suffered a security incident. Third quarter revenue came in better than expected for the company at $810 million. But when you're a security and delivery solutions company, it's supposed to stop that stuff, and you're having the breaches, well, that's alarming, at least it is in my eyes, and the market's eyes, as they are down 7.51% here today. F5, man, just I don't know how you can figure this out moving forward. You have one job, man, and one job. So now let's talk a little bit about local stories out there. Specifically, let's go over to the city of Tempe because we have raw numbers here coming in and revised numbers on that big microburst that rolled through when we had those big storms a couple of weeks ago. The city of Tempe now estimates that more than 1,000 homes, 83 businesses were damaged by that October 13th microburst. Officials, however, still don't know how many people have been displaced by the storm. Yeah, even 2 weeks later, they don't have that number. Some people could be out of their home for the long term, especially those who lived in apartment units that have been damaged. The city has cleared over 600 tons of plant material that have been knocked over from that storm. A Tempe spokesperson said the Public Works Department has been working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, clearing out all that debris. The Red Cross, to tell you how bad that microburst was, the Red Cross was seeing hurricane-level damage in Tempe on buildings, trees, etc. There, that's how big that windstorm was that microburst hit the Tempe side. So some numbers, some updates for you in terms of that side of things. And then a company, you've heard of them, X Energy. It's XNRGY. They're a company that specializes in data center cooling stuff. Well, they now celebrated the grand opening of the new manufacturing facility over in Mesa. That facility is going to produce advanced heating and air conditioning systems for data centers. It's calling it the Mesa 1 facility. It's 275,000 square feet, but it basically is representing the first step that X Energy has taken here in the U.S. By the way, they're a Canadian company as well, so do what you want with that. X Energy makes innovative cooling fans that help large-scale data centers maintain proper equipment temperatures. So to give you an idea for us laymen's out there, well, these are essential technologies because of what they do. Data centers generate significant amount of heat, computers running, etc. Your home computer does the same. They need specialized cooling equipment because of their volume and size of their equipment there, and X Energy puts that all together. So without this advanced cooling technologies, keeping these data centers running efficiently, well, large-scale technologies, things like artificial intelligence, they wouldn't be able to operate reliably or even at those big buildings, right? The scale that we see today, they'd have to be a lot smaller without that. So X Energy's new building over in Mesa, manufacturing building, up and running as well. And then BlackRock, a local company that's planning a lot of growth. They just went public as well. Well, a company out there called Russo Modular, they announced a major partnership with BlackRock Coffee Bar. What they're going to do is they're going to deliver an estimated 20 to 30 modular buildings throughout 2026. BlackRock is expanding in huge numbers. They're going to help them do it. So this partnership, it began with several successful projects before BlackRock's recent public offering. Well, it represents the type of relationship that's transforming how we approach commercial construction. This is fascinating to me. They're modular buildings. Instead of building it in the old traditional construction ways out there as well. So this has evolved from that straightforward modular manufacturing relationship, and it's moved into something a lot bigger, right? A Black Rock Coffee Bar has expanded across 7 states toward their goal of 1,000 locations. They have the same issue and the same challenge that every growing brand hits, right? How do you coordinate multiple contractors across states, right? How do you manage timelines across different jurisdictions and rules, etc.? And how do you keep projects on budget? And then how do you do all of that while maintaining the quality of the buildings for your product out there? Well, they BlackRock decided they needed end-to-end solutions, not just buildings, to get to that point. So the approach is straightforward: manufacture buildings for this Russo modular company. They're going to manufacture the buildings in their 20,000 square foot Phoenix facility. And what's going to be happening on site is the site preparation is going to happen at the same time. Because, like right now, right, you got to do all the site preparation stuff and then start building. Then you get a rainstorm to come through, snow, etc. Well, you can get weather delays. Well, there'll be no weather delays as they construct these buildings inside this building here in Phoenix. So they're going to obviously get a lot of consistent quality. They're going to use precision 3D modeling is what they're going to use. Things like AutoCAD, for those of you in that industry, is what you'll be looking at. Single point of accountability from design through ribbon cutting will happen here with this modular company. So the method that is both controlled and scalable for BlackRock Coffee Bar is what they are finding and hoping for in this partnership as well. So the company operates 168 locations, strong unit performance, and ambitious growth plans there the modular company kind of works with. The BlackRock kind of works with. So they needed that construction partner who could scale with them without, making it more complex out there as well. It gets pretty complex with multiple contractors, GCs, etc. So BlackRock trying this method, they've had some success with it as they've used it on a smaller scale. Can the company grow with them? Modular company? Can it work out? This is going to be fascinating to watch here moving forward and for that growth there for BlackRock as well. And now let's talk a little bit about the BNSF railway station up there in Whitman area. Well, the update here is that over a dozen Arizona cities chamber of commerce organizations, well, they've actually signed on to show their support for that proposed $3.2 billion railway hub up there northeast of Phoenix. There's a lot of opposition from residents and, for instance, Surprise City. They've thrown a wrench into that plans as well, but city commerce getting involved through a lot of states. So the coalition of chambers signed a joint letter in support that they are sending to Maricopa County's Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors is expected to vote in early November on rezoning that BNSF-owned land into unincorporated Maricopa County near Whitman is where they're putting it for that rail hub. So they've delayed this vote numerous times over the last several years. November 5th, I think, is when that is coming up. The letter here from the Chamber of Commerce touts the transformational nature of the project. And they say it'll be intermodal and logistics hub for warehousing and manufacturing users, where goods will be transferred between train and truck. They say it will also be one of the largest in the country, according to the letter that they all signed. The letter also details the expected economic impact and how the project could create tens of thousands of jobs, hundreds of millions of dollars in annual tax revenue, which, interesting enough, will make it like hosting, and their phrase in the letter, hosting 7 Super Bowls every year in terms of tax revenue. Over the past year, BNSF has asked for several delays on the rezoning vote because of the opposition out there. They're trying to get their ducks in a row to get this to pass. So the vote is November 5th with the Board of Supervisors meeting. We'll have to see kind of what influence hits the Board of Supervisors coming up as well, because residents of Whitman, I told you, Surprise City Council is against this as well. They've been fighting against this rail hub. They've been packing meetings and even launching an effort to incorporate the area to give it a city status, because that would mean they'd have a greater say in local planning and zoning decisions if it becomes a city at that point. So the opposition's still out there. Will this get passed through? Well, City of Chambers have jumped on board now for that railway station up there. So that's the latest update on that. And folks, appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday. Look, Wednesday is going to be a big, important day here at McCollum on Business. Fed are going to announce, they'll do it right in the middle of the show. They're going to announce what they're doing here after their Fed meeting. The anticipation is that quarter point rate cut. Another one coming up. Some people are in that, and the governors are pushing for a half point. Do they get their job there? Do we just see the quarter? Well, we'll see. The markets have that built in already, the quarter one, so we'll see what happens at that point. Of course, the Magnificent Seven stocks, right? Google, Meta, Amazon, all reporting this week. Microsoft, we're waiting for those numbers to come out as the week goes on as well. So, big day tomorrow. Come and join us, would you? Live here at 11 o'clock at Robat TV, on demand on Robat TV right afterwards, the YouTube page as well. And then and then all the other shows are out in the free podcast systems. Not this one though. This one, if you want to watch YouTube or Robat TV, is where you will find that out there. Folks, I appreciate you joining me here today. We'll see you tomorrow here on McCollum on Business. Pit Stop coming up later in the day. Check that out as well.